right? And we're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to. We're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
That was former President Donald Trump telling you what he really thinks about this country, that it is a garbage can. Wow. And yet, this guy wants to be president of a country that he clearly seems to hate. Now, of course, MAGA, they're going to make excuses to this, saying, oh, you took him out of context. Okay, well, let's talk about the context then. Doesn't make it any better. He said this country is like a garbage can. Trash cans are obviously filled with garbage, right? So what's the garbage? Other human beings. That's what he's saying. Other human beings that were not lucky enough to be born in the United States. That's how he feels about human beings. So it's clear that he is using dehumanizing language. And that's not a surprise. He's been using dehumanizing language for like ever, basically. And so, look, he claimed that they're criminals, that they're being sent over here. None of that is true. Okay, they're not criminals. They could actually commit crimes at a much lower level than native born American citizens. They're not garbage. Okay. In fact, a lot of them are actually refugees from climate disasters or political instability. For example, Haiti got hit with hurricane, okay? And they had political instability, rampant poverty, things like that. And by the way, some refugees are also fleeing from America's foreign policy. So these statements, they're pretty disgusting, okay? And again, dehumanizing language. What's also disgusting is the idea that apparently now a lot of Americans, almost half of all Americans, think that is okay that we could throw undocumented immigrants into literal internment camps. Apparently, we forgot what happened the last time the United States of America did something like that to Japanese Americans during World War II. Okay, we forgot about that, apparently. That said, the Trump campaign defended this rhetoric. In an email to Newsweek, Stephen Chung basically lied through his teeth, saying this: Kamala Harris has allowed terrorists and criminals into our country, and they have wreaked havoc on Americans and communities all across the country. They have killed, raped, and terrorized citizens, and have treated our country with disdain. I think you're talking about your own folks there. Okay. speaking of talking about the country of disdain, what do you call calling America a trash can? Come on. But getting to that other point, right, with terrorizing Americans, remember far right groups like the Proud Boys have been out there terrorizing fellow Americans. You have neo-Nazi extremists that have tried taking down the power grid in places like Baltimore and other cities. Law enforcement officials have blamed much of the rise in these grid assaults on not Antifa, okay, not the left, white nationalists and far right extremists. Yeah. Who say they're using online forums to spread tactical advice on how to shut down the power supply. That's not migrants doing that. It's not immigrants, okay? It ain't Haitian immigrants. It ain't Mexican immigrants. It's our own homebred white boy terrorists. That's what it is. They're trying to spark a race war, is what they're doing. Okay. Now, of course, U.S. MAGA, Donald Trump, they're never going to admit what the real danger is, and that is white supremacy, white nationalism, and neo-Nazi groups, because they happen to vote for Republicans. I'm not saying all Republicans are Nazis, but all Nazis happen to be Republicans. Just saying. Now, this got some reaction on social media. In fact, you had Anthony Scaramucci saying this: more fascist language. America and Americans are too good to stand alongside of this. I mean, there's enough Americans that actually do want to return to fascism. And they are currently backing Donald Trump. Look, just the other day, you had Tucker Carlson going out there and basically comparing Donald Trump to America's daddy and saying that Americans, oh, they can't wait for daddy to come home. And then when he does, well, boy, he's going to give you a vigorous spanking.
You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl.
A bad girl. Can't wait for that to happen. Daddy Trump, come back. Give everybody spankings. I mean, can't get more fascist than that. Fascist and authoritarian. Now, producer and author Melissa Jo Peltier says, this is the polar opposite of what America was formed to stand for, and what has built us into the greatest power and economy in the world. Yet, we stand to lose all this because too many MAGAs hate the idea of brown people. Now, there's a lot of hate that's going on here. A lot of hatred, a lot of xenophobia, and a lot of exclusion. Basically, they want to build a wall around this country in a literal sense, right? And a figurative sense as well, because they think that we are superior, that they are superior, I should say, and that we have to protect our cultural identity, which basically goes and boils down to white supremacy, okay? Because that is their cultural identity. White, Christian, conservative. That's what it is. That's the identity, right? And the thing is like, I don't care. But people on the left, I don't actually care if you're a white person, Republican, you're conservative, whatever. I miss the days where we could actually have a conversation and disagreement. Like, I think taxes are too low on the rich. Oh, well, I think taxes are slightly high on the rich because they're job creators and things like that. I miss those conversations. Now we're talking about human beings being garbage. Okay? We're talking enemy within. Like, what has happened to this country? What has happened to this country? And it's this guy. He's given people carte blanche to be the worst, most hateful version of themselves. John Cryer writes, Donald Trump hates America. Writer Poli Sci writes, Hitler-loving Paula Filth is out here campaigning by calling our country a garbage can for the world. F this a-hole. And then Bloomberg business reporter Riley Ray Griffin, who attended that rally, by the way, wrote in a post that a woman seated behind her had shouted, quote, "They're eating the cats." Of course, talking about the Haitian migrants, that entire lie that was spread by Trump, by Vance, that they knew was false. So there you go. Trump thinks that the United States is the world's trash can, and his fans still wrongly think that migrants are eating people's pets, despite the fact that there's been no evidence of it, and it has been debunked multiple times among all the other just flat out lies, right? It just proves that Trump is both an insult to our collective intelligence as Americans and a good example as to how low that number has become for too many of us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe with the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.